Okay then,
I'm gonna make noise for a second, Chris.
all set? Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, August 13th, 2019. We're meeting for our weekly business meeting. And I'm calling this meeting to order, attending with Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Filios. And I'm going to ask Dr. Keene to lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so moving on, we'll move to the consent calendar. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the consent calendar as listed on our business meeting agenda for August 13th, 2019.
Aye, second motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Chairman Filios.
Aye. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a slight change. We're going to move the payables list to the final item on the agenda. So in addition to that, do we have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on. First item, action item is bid opening 2019-12 for removal and relocation of the Brown and Justice Building. Sean, I guess you're cited for this one, and I guess it will be opening it, that is to say the BOCC will. So how many?
There's none.
No bids?
No bids.
Oh, I overheard something earlier. I thought we had a bid. Okay. Sean, you want to comment?
So it looks like, Sean Riley for the record, it looks like we have no bids for removal or salvage and demolition. So at this point in time, it would probably be good to get a meeting set up with the board for direction as to if you want to pursue going out to hire a contractor to demolish and haul away the building. That would be the next phase. We could do that at a debrief
At a
or
debrief,
any
okay.
meeting that you
We
would
don't have to
choose
do
to.
that now. All right. Any comments? I guess we can just move on to the second one, right? All right, second item, awarding the bid for the admin and elections parking lots. That's the paving. Sean again.
Sean Riley for the record again. We had two responsive bidders for the parking lots, base bid A and base bid B, the repaving and restructuring of the admin and the elections lot. T-La Riviere Inc. was determined to be the lowest responsive bidder in the amount of $513,467. So I would like to ask the board to go ahead and award the bid, and then hopefully next week I can bring back a contract and a notice to proceed at the same time.
Okay. Any questions? Do we have a legal review?
Well, that would be after a contract.
That would be after the contract. Okay, fine. Motion?
I move that we award the bid for the admin and elections parking lot to T-La Riviere Inc. Would you like to know? $513,467.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Chairman Filios.
Aye. Motion carried. Item number 3, agreement for janitorial services with Tesh, brought to us by Resource Management Office. Kim?
Yes, this is an agreement with Tesh to provide janitorial services for the transit center. The price is $346 per month.
How many hours is that approximately?
They didn't give us hours. I mean, the list there shows the tasks that would be done. They didn't break it down by the hour.
They don't need, is it like 7 days a week type work?
It's Monday through Friday,
Okay.
the days that we're there and
Okay.
inside the building.
Okay. Thank you.
Is it covered by FTA funds?
Yes.
Cool. Motion?
I move that we approve the agreement for janitorial services with Tesh and for the transit center.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Chairman Filios.
Aye. Motion carried. Item number 4, a renewal of the Memorandum of Understanding, otherwise known as an MOU, with North Idaho Maritime Office of Emergency Management.
Rachel Irish for the record. This is just a renewal of an MOU to provide transportation in the event of an emergency that would require over-the-water transportation of people and or debris or whatever. Obviously, we have areas in the county that wouldn't be accessible if certain roads were not accessible, so,
Okay.
and most likely this would be reimbursed under a disaster declaration.
Okay. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the renewal of the MOU with North Idaho Maritime.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Philios.
Aye. Motion carried. Item number 5, 2019 State Homeland Security Grant Program, Resource Management Office, in behalf of our Office of Emergency Management.
Rachel Irish. You can see before you the list of recipients that the review committee recommends that we apply for the State Homeland Security Grant and how that would be allocated. So we're asking your approval to apply for that.
Okay. And this money is used for?
It is used for equipment and planning and training and exercise. So we awarded some of it to law enforcement and fire. We're required to use 25% of the money on law enforcement. So in this case, it was used for portable radios for various law enforcement agencies, but we use it in our office for training and exercise and planning.
Got it. Questions?
This is just the application?
Well, that's the term they use.
Okay.
This amount was already allocated to Kootenai County. They
So
divided
it's
up
an
per
award.
county. It's not the official award. It is an application, we put it in, and then we will be awarded the money.
Okay.
So it's kind of a done deal, but it's an application.
An application.
You will have an award to sign when they actually give the money.
Okay.
Fair enough. Motion?
I move that we approve the 2019 State Homeland Security Grant Program application.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Philios.
Aye. Motion carried. Item number 6, request for a purchase of a snowplow. Sean Riley, in behalf of the BOCC, Buildings and Grounds.
That's correct. Sean Riley for the record. There's a typo here. I filled this out last week apparently when I wasn't quite coherent. So the actual amount of the snowplow is $7,112.85, not $701,285. And the request is to use 5-year plan money to buy this extra plow. It's gonna go on one of the trucks out at the jail. It's a 2005 Ford F-150. We've done it in the past. A couple years ago, Buildings and Grounds got a new truck, and then we took the money from the 5-year plan to buy the plow for the new truck. So, talking to Tom and Greg, they could use this plow on that truck and probably get them done in a more timely manner out at the jail. So
Okay.
that's the request.
Questions?
With the amount changed, do I just note that, or do we need to?
Yeah, you should probably.
Just note that, yeah, it wasn't included in the agenda, so it's okay.
Correct.
Motion?
I move that we approve the request to purchase a snow plow in the amount of $7,112.85.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Philios.
Aye. Motion carried. Item number 7, agreement for architectural and engineering services for relocation of the generator and fuel tank at the jail with Longwell Trap Architects for the Board of Commissioners. Sean Riley.
Okay, so, this is an agreement with Longwell Trap not to exceed $4,500 to come up with some design work to present to the city. They've decided that they want a permit now for us to relocate the generator and the above ground tank. So not only does the fire department want a permit, now the city building department wants a permit also. And so we don't have anything that's really drawn up per se. So Longwell Trap is one of our architects that's on our preferred list. And so I reached out to them, and not to exceed $4,500, they'll draw it up. The tank's 14 weeks out, we're being told, although I'm hoping we can get it sooner. So if we can get this done, get it drawn up, then the plan is to go ahead and have the electrical laid, the pad poured, everything done, so when that tank shows up, we pump the underground tank and pull it, drop in the new tank, fill it, and we're done.
Okay.
You make it sound so easy.
I'm good at that. Let's hope it goes half as easy as it sounds.
Of course, the city's gonna get their share, right?
Thank you. And then, Dan, we're all over it.
Motion.
I move that we approve the agreement for architectural and engineering services with Longwell Trap not to exceed $4,500 for the generator project at the jail.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Philios.
Aye, motion carried. Item number 8, authorization for budget reclassification for the coroner. Dr. Keen?
Warren Keene from the coroner's office for the record. I'm giving you a nice short version that Dina color printed for us so that we could have a proper discussion. I was under some misinformation. Unfortunately, it came to the clerk's office and they corrected me, and I stand corrected and it won't happen again. But with moving into the new space, I think Sean's gonna put out the request for bids maybe in October. So we should be there, and this will help my office to run the coroner's office and storage, and it gives us another option. We're not making a lot of progress on the funeral home issue that we talked about. I think I'll have good information in about 10 days. But this scissors lift will allow us to do storage if necessary during any kind of transition period, and that's why I would like to purchase the scissors lift with funds that we have in the B budget this year. We are we're fortunate that we're not on our 4-year running average of 4.5 homicides in the county. We've only had 1 homicide this year so far. We haven't had any triple fatalities on the water. We haven't had any double fatalities on car accidents, and so I feel comfortable with this amount of money transferring out of the 8117 pathology radiology fund into a capital purchase. If the board wishes, we have some design and remodel money left over for the office space, which the board had previously said to move into next year's construction part of it, and it could come out of there as well, but it's at the board's discretion.
Okay, so specifically with regard to the Caesar lift, that's about $7,800.
Correct.
You've already provided a deposit of $500.
Correct.
We actually have a few scissor lifts available.
But they need to have, it's called like a ball bearing on the top, so that
You can roll.
you can roll forward and sideways, rather than just a lift to, like a man lift. It has to be specifically done that way.
Okay, so this is to service the coolers
Correct.
in your new office.
Correct.
Okay. Questions?
Where are the coolers right now?
Then a secure building out at the airport.
Okay. And is the secure building a county facility?
No, it's my private facility, because there's no space in my office currently. There's no space in the garage at the elections building, and the current place where we're gonna remodel for my office is full of other county stuff.
Okay. So in the design, do you have the coolers in the design for the new area?
There is no real design, but conceptually, yes. But we don't have any design ready.
Okay.
But that's where they will be, yes.
So realistically, this is just in case worst case scenario happens.
No, I think it's very probable that within the year that we will have the lab and we will have it designed and ready to go. In the instance of a worst case scenario with the funeral home, yes.
By lab, you mean office space? Or
No, lab is different than office space. The office space is going to be above where the lab is.
Okay.
And as I have brought forward every year for 5 years, construction and design of the lab, which would be on the bottom half of that work pod.
Okay, so I'm not ready to approve this right now. I mean, to me, this should have been like a 2020 budgeted item, since you did get approval to go ahead with the remodel of the workforce center and everything. So to me, this is a little bit premature, especially since we're already storing county equipment in a non-county place. And so I'm concerned that we're gonna spend another $7,400 on a piece of equipment that we have no room to store. So at this point, I can't go ahead with this, and I'd like to see it in the FY 2021 budget after the whole remodel's been done and we find a place for these 3 coolers to be stored on a more permanent basis.
As soon as the office remodel is done, all of those things will be moved into the work pod. So that should be done as soon as the construction's done. And I would think by, you think by December, January?
Yeah, I would think by January that we would probably be able to at least have the office area done. The body coolers, I don't know what, Sean Riley for the record, I don't know what they require as far as electrical, but we've not planned anything downstairs for that. The only electrical that we've planned for is the lighting and the outlets on the upper level. So I don't know that even if we get them in there, that the circuit would be able to handle the load. There's three scissor lifts right now within 300 yards of that pod. There's a scissor lift 2 doors down at the evidence pod, and then JDC has a small single lift that they use for lights in the gym and such. And then Chris, you remember when we finished the jail expansion, we bought a brand new 2-person lift.
Yes.
At the jail. I don't recall if they have the rollers, but for the amount of time that it might be needed until a more permanent decision is made, I'm sure that the jail staff could figure out some way to, set up a roller system on it. But there are lifts available if needed until the next budget cycle. I'm just throwing that out there.
I guess a further concern would be we are in negotiations with the funeral homes, and if we are going to start paying for unclaimed bodies, that I would rather see this money go towards that, and that would go a long way towards mending those relationships where, and I still don't have all the information that I'm gathering, but I don't know that we have paid for unclaimed bodies in the past, and so if we are gonna start doing that by statute, then I think we need to save this money, and I just think it's premature to buy a piece of equipment when it won't be used right away and we don't have a place to store it. So that's just where I'm at.
Where are you at, Chris?
No, I think I can see the need, but I think Sean has a point. We can get pretty creative. If we need to install the rollers, we can probably do that. If we do have 3 scissor lifts available, I think that's probably the way to go for now. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree with it. For now.
I just have a question.
Go right ahead.
Is the $500 that we've already put down refundable?
I don't know, we'll go to the office and ask.
Just out of curiosity.
I don't know either. Good point. So I think we can at least satisfy the immediate need or the near-term need, but longer term, I think we might have to take another solution. But certainly, maybe somebody in Buildings and Grounds can work to provide the rollers if that's what's necessary.
Oh, I'm sure they could fabricate.
Sean, are these self-propelled lifts?
Yes. There's actually a 4th one out at the airport that could be brought over any time too, and that, so I mean, there's actually 4 that I'm aware of that are available.
All right, so we can fill the need one way or the other, okay. Yeah, I guess we're not gonna need a motion here then. All right. Item number 9, proclamation for Constitution Week. Should we be reading that?
Would you like me to read it? It's not very long.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. Proclamation for Constitution Week. Whereas September 17th, 2019 marks the 232nd anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 or 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, and this is, it has our County Clerk Jim Brannon's name, as the County Clerk of Kootenai, proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideas the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained.
Okay, thank you. So is there a motion to accept the proclamation and declare the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week?
Yes, I move that we accept the proclamation to proclaim Constitution Week as September 17th through the 23rd, 2019.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Philios.
Aye, motion passed. Item number 10, interlocal agreement with for 2019 Burn Justice Assistance Grant, also known as the JAG Program Award, with the City of Coeur d'Alene Research Management Office on behalf of our Kootenai County Sheriff's Organization. Is that Kim?
Yes, Kim Riley, for the record, this is the interlocal agreement with the City of Coeur d'Alene. Our portion of the award is $18,348, which they will use for the purchase of the mobile data computers.
Okay. Fair enough. Motion?
Sorry, is this is the award, or, I mean,
This
it's called
is
an
the
agreement,
agreement,
so.
it's kind of like the SHSP, so the City of Coeur d'Alene gets the award and we're a subrecipient.
Okay, perfect. I move that we approve the interlocal agreement for the 2019 Burn Justice Assistant Grants.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Philios.
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have to go back to the payables. So is there a motion to approve the payables list?
Yes, I move that we approve minus one item. So approve the payables list for the week of August 5th through August 9th, taking out the item for Moby Supply LLC in the amount of $500. The date was July 31st, 2019.
Okay, and that was the down payment for the scissor lift, is that
Yes,
correct?
and that was on a purchase card. They have received their money,
Okay,
so we need to find a way to get that refunded.
sure.
Dr. Keene will look into that for us, okay?
Okay, I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Philios.
Aye, motion carried. I'm gonna, at this point, move on to public comment. Dan, Susie, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Dan Duca, City of Coeur d'Alene. Last night we had a huge power outage in the city. And a lot of people contacted council and elected officials at the city to find out what's going on. But that's not our job, that's your job, because you run the emergency, whatever it is, office. So there was a lot of concern about that and very little information flowing out and available. I think you guys can do a better job on getting the information out. One of the concerns I have is, since I've been on this, ever since that windstorm many years ago, it seems that you kind of go between these various type of apps. So you'll look at smartphone apps, or you'll look at social media as ways of getting the information out, and I believe this is completely wrong, because a lot of our most vulnerable citizens who are seniors do not have smartphones and are unable to navigate these apps. And further, you seem to keep changing apps. So it was Nixle one year, and then it was something else, and then it was something else. And it's almost like these guys keep coming to you, selling you apps, and you keep switching between this and that. I would like some consistency
especially for seniors. And the thing I brought up at that meeting at the sheriff's office years ago was AM radio, folks.
Yes.
You have a federal capability to commandeer an AM radio station and get information out. And that's what seniors are gonna look for. Everyone has an AM radio in their car. People with emergency kits have AM radios in the kits. This is the way you're gonna do it. The first message that I heard was sent out was at 9:30 and it was garbled, and I didn't get it. I had to have my police chief text me to let me know what was going on. You can do a much better job, and I would encourage you to do this because it's gonna happen again and again. There were 2 seniors who called me with concerns. One is right next to me.
Please, my age.
Daniel.
I'm playing to their hearts.
Oh, good, oh, okay, in that case.
She needs power to breathe,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And if she didn't get her power back and didn't know when it was coming back, she has to check into a motel or go out and sleep in her car. There was another senior that my son helps take care of, and you probably know her, Joy Seward. Joy Seward is in
Yes.
her 90s, and she was without power at midnight, and they had to get her in a car and take her to a place where they had power. It was not a very pleasant thing. So I would encourage you to use your office that you have and work on your communications to be able to get it out in an effective and consistent manner. Dump all these apps and all these charlatans who keep coming to you, selling you app after app after app. Knock it off and focus on what works. Thank
That's
you.
just an assumption though. Just saying.
An assumption?
Yeah, that they're coming to us and selling things, you're assuming. So, my point is that, like any other person who has an outage, they call the electric company. So, I wouldn't be calling my council member, I'd be calling the electric company, finding out what's going on, is my point.
But Dan.
Nice dodge. Go ahead.
No,
It's not a
okay.
dodge.
But Dan, okay, so most folks have cell phones.
Really?
So even.
That's seniors?
Quite a number of seniors, I'm not saying it ought to be limited to cell phones, but I'm saying that's one approach that we've taken to provide communication, whether it's by text or the actual phone message. Yesterday, I had the TV on, and it was during the various, before the actual outage, they were broadcasting that there were storms in the area, and the duration of those storms and the high winds, so there's another vehicle. I'm not suggesting that you're wrong, maybe we ought to take an additional avenue, but I think we've already taken certain avenues that would reach most of the people, most of the approaches, but, I think your point about AM is a good one. Rachel, do you want to jump in?
Well, I know, I can't tell you exactly how long, but we have had the Everbridge system for at least 2 years, if not longer. We have not changed since then. We have been doing a lot of education with the public on how to sign up for that. And I can tell you that we went to each one of the senior centers in the county to get people to sign up, and we had very few that did not have cell phones. That's one point. I know that we can do a better job as far as the messages being garbled last night. They were a little too long for people to understand all what they were saying, and that is a problem. And I will take back that AM radio because I think that's a great idea, and it wasn't used last night when it certainly could have been. So there's room for improvement, but I think it's improved a lot since I started, and I've been here almost 4 years.
I got the message, but it was unintelligible.
Yeah.
That was your point, Susie, earlier.
I'm trying to listen to this thing, I'm going, 9,640,000, they're trying to read a telephone.
I think the message was too long, and
But, hey, we got what we got, but there's no reason not to do it, no reason.
If we can do better, let's do better. I think there's no question about it.
Yep. Thank you.
May I say?
Go right ahead, please.
I'm Susan Snedeker. I'll spell it for you later in case it's phonetic, but it's difficult. As you can see, I'm on oxygen. I'm not the only one, and I'm not the only person who is dependent upon electricity for life. In my case, I have, as I told Rachel earlier, I have some options, like getting into my car to recharge the POC and driving forever, just to get it out. But not everybody has that. The message that I got last night, first place, I came home from Spokane, I was with friends in Spokane, got home at 6:30 with the police zipping by, and I'm the first one, and then the neighbors started coming out, and nobody knew what was going on. Everybody knew the power was out. We didn't have to call the power company, for God's sakes. But it didn't, usually it comes on, you know, you give it an hour or two and everything happens. But at any rate, I had some auxiliary equipment that I could use. I also had some cylinders, so I assembled everything. The message did not come through until 9:31. 9:31, and I arrived at 6:30. The time delay is way too long, and I didn't get it on a cell phone, I got it on my landline, but I was collecting my canisters and did not hear it on the landline, and have no reason to pick up the landline. And the second message that was somewhat clear, but not really, it came at 9:51, so that's a time lapse, you know, you have a time lapse of notification. I did call Dan to see what was going on before the messages apparently came through. I got the messages this morning, by the way. This is my concern. No, a lot of people have cell phones, and not everybody has a cell phone. And a computer wouldn't work, a TV wouldn't work. The radio was absolutely useless, and that was the first thing I did, was pick up my portable radio, and it was absolutely useless. My understanding from a different city is that the county has the ability to have an emergency band that they can use from time to time, and it's through FCC, I believe. And I do know it's used in other areas. So there's no reason why it can't happen here. It to me is so obvious, but the biggest thing is the word didn't get out until so late, and I don't understand the delay. Maybe it's just me. I was lucky, but I don't know if there were others who weren't.
Ma'am, can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
Who's your provider? Who provides electricity to your home?
Avista.
Avista. So I'm with Kootenai Electric. When my power went out
You're
Sunday
different.
morning, right, when my power went out, I called Kootenai Electric and they told me, if you're in this area, you can expect power back on 11. Does Avista not have those types of
With
messages?
10,000 people out, and I didn't call.
They have an app.
I called
Yeah.
you. It's an app.
Yeah, another app.
So,
Yeah.
it's an app.
Okay, so,
Not for me.
yeah, so that's unfortunate, but I mean, that's why I always call my electric company immediately, because they always have that recording, you know,
Right.
we know it's in the area and we'll get you back on 11 or, you know, whatever the time frame is. And the second, do you have a generator?
No. I don't have a
No,
generator.
Susie lives in the city.
I live in the city.
It's not likely, most folks in the city.
No, most people in the city don't have generators. Look, as I explained it when Rachel and I were talking earlier, you know, I'm in a little different position because I have an alternative. But not everybody has that, and not everybody is mobile, and not everybody can get around. And I just think that the warning system, get on the radio. You know, the warning system, when we had Mount St. Helens years ago, Larry Erickson was the sheriff in Spokane. And Larry Erickson got on the radio and talked to everybody about the situation and calmed everybody down. And he really was Larry was a voice of reason all throughout the first week with the ash from Mount St. Helens and what, you know, all the things going on with it. There's absolutely no reason why the Office of Emergency Management isn't utilizing the radio.
Well, it sounds like that they're going to make some changes and adjustments, so
Let
thanks
us
for
hope.
making that.
Rachel, can you address the 3-hour delay?
You know, I wasn't here last night because I went on vacation yesterday and I was driving, so I got all the alerts on my phone. So I don't know the exact timing wise.
Were you getting the alerts anywhere near the approximate time frame of the failure, which I think was about 6:30 or shortly before?
I don't think they came that early, but they would have had to get the information from Avista first, so I don't know what time Avista made any notification, so.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so there is gotta be some time lag there, but I can't speak to that.
Okay.
I will have Sandy give you guys a call though. I'm sure that you'll wanna discuss this with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we'll get back with you, Susie.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for coming. Thank you,
Thanks, Bill.
Dan. Good ideas.
Good.
More public comment?
That's what public comments are for.
Well, it's public bitching, but you know.
You can't put that on.
Okay. Time is 2:36, meeting adjourned, thank you.
I knew we were in trouble.